Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating new academic preprint by an independent researcher named Ivan Markovich. And honestly, it reads like a cosmic detective story about the actual survival of our species. It introduces this concept called the instinct filter, which basically explores that super precarious intersection of our technology, our wisdom, and, well, our entire future.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why exactly does our technological power grow just so much faster than our wisdom to actually control it? You know, it's a really profound paradox. We literally have the capability right now to split the atom and completely rewrite genetics. Yet our global governance, well, it often feels like it's stuck in the Stone Age. The stakes here are absolutely massive. We're talking literally civilization-defining stakes.
Section 1. The Great Cosmic Bottleneck, the Fermi Paradox, and Existential Risk.
So to really understand this, we kind of have to look up at the stars. For decades now, scientists have been looking at the billions of galaxies out there and asking one really simple question. Where is everybody? I mean, if the universe is so old and just so incredibly vast, why isn't it completely teeming with advanced civilizations? Well, this brings us to what's known as the Great Filter. The idea here is that there's some theoretical threshold, like a massive obstacle, that makes it extremely difficult for any civilization to survive and expand across the stars. Basically, some mysterious force might be wiping out advanced societies before they can truly mature. And the really chilling question we have to ask ourselves is this filter behind us, or is it looming right in front of us?
Section 2. The Evolutionary Mismatch, Biology versus Technology. So, Markovich's research zooms all the way in from that massive cosmic scale right down to our own human biology. And he reveals this really startling hypothesis. The great threat to our survival isn't some rogue asteroid or a hostile alien race. The threat is actually us. Specifically, it's our own evolutionary wiring. And this just brilliantly illustrates the core of the whole problem. On one hand, we've got our evolved motivations, things like survival, status, tribal advantage, and acquiring resources. But on the other hand, we have this immense technological power that brings rapid expansion and global reach, along with the potential for completely irreversible harm. It's kind of like an engine versus brakes situation. Our technology is this massive, speeding engine that's just continuously accelerating. But our governance, our collective wisdom, they're driven by those ancient evolutionary motivations, acting like sluggish, totally outdated brakes, trying to stop a runaway bullet train.
Moving into Section 3, defining the instinct filter, a prolonged vulnerability. We're now getting to the absolute core hypothesis of this research.
This is where that mismatch between our biology and our tools becomes a literal cosmic bottleneck. The instinct filter is defined as a prolonged period where a civilization's destructive capability grows much, much faster than its collective self-restraint and governance. Now, I want that to really sink in for a second. We so often think of the end of the world as this sudden event, right? Like one single catastrophic bad day. But Markovich conceptualizes this filter not as a flash in the pan, but as a prolonged era. It is an era of intense, agonizing vulnerability where our power simply outstrips our control.
And here is the blunt reality of the situation. Intelligence does not automatically supply wise goals. We tend to just assume that, hey, because we're smart enough to invent things like quantum computers, we're definitely smart enough to use them safely. But Markovich argues that intelligence doesn't actually override those inherited drives we talked about. Actually, in a lot of cases, it just makes us vastly more efficient at pursuing those ancient goals, like hoarding resources or gaining a group advantage over our rivals. Basically, just being smart doesn't automatically make us wise.
Section 4. Accelerating toward the edge. Symptoms of the filter. So how does this theoretical mismatch actually manifest in the real world today? Well, as technology relentlessly amplifies the reach of both individuals and entire organizations, we're seeing the symptoms of this filter popping up all around us. And it is happening at a rapidly accelerating pace. Just look at these expressions of the filter. Nuclear war, ecological collapse, engineered pandemics, uncontrolled artificial intelligence. We usually treat these as completely separate problems, right? Like they all require separate experts to solve. But the paper makes this really chilling point. These are not isolated issues. They are all just different catastrophic expressions of the exact same evolutionary mismatch. They're all symptoms of our power just completely outrunning our collective restraint. So the crucial point is right here. Competitive pressures reward those who move faster and externalize risk. This is really the tragic trap of the instinct filter. Our current economic and geopolitical systems actively reward the players who flat out refuse to unilaterally slow down.
I mean, think about it. Even if absolutely everyone in the room fully understands the collective danger of an arms race, or, say, a race to build superintelligence, that intense pressure to gain an immediate advantage, it pushes everyone forward anyway. It's literally a race to the bottom, driven entirely by instinct.
Which brings us to Section 5, Routes Through the Filter, Building Better Brakes.
Now, please don't despair just yet. What I absolutely love about this research is that it doesn't just diagnose all the doom and gloom. It actually offers concrete, structural solutions to upgrade those sluggish evolutionary brakes we were talking about. It's essentially a playbook for civilizational survival, broken down into 3 main pillars. First, under institutions, we need anticipatory governance. We need institutions that look ahead of the technology curve, not ones that just react to it after the fact. And they need to be polycentric and fully accountable. Then, under global action, the author points straight to verifiable international agreements. Simple handshakes just aren't going to cut it anymore. We need trust that is actually built on hard verification. And finally, under systems, we have to seriously look at incentive redesign and maintaining what's called epistemic integrity. That basically just means protecting our shared sense of truth. Ultimately, this right here is how we structurally upgrade our society's brakes.
So building on those pillars, Markovici lays out a few really vital tactical steps. Step 1. We absolutely must start actively representing future generations in our current decision-making. I mean, their lives literally depend on what we do today. Step 2. Build civilizational resilience. We have to ensure our societies can actually take a hit and bounce back from it. And Step 3. Enforce hard, non-negotiable limits on the scale of possible harm we allow any single technology to possess. Now, interestingly, the paper also advises taking a highly cautious approach if we ever try to modify human motivations directly, whether that's through biological or technological means. The risks of unintended consequences there are just way too high. So for now, our focus has to remain strictly on building better external systems.
Section 6. Surviving Human Imperfection, the Pragmatic Solution.
I have to tell you, there is a sense of sheer relief in this final, most pragmatic takeaway from the research. The author takes all these vast cosmic ideas and just completely grounds them into something incredibly practical. He writes, "Civilization need not eliminate conflict or produce morally perfect individuals. It must build systems in which ordinary human imperfection cannot easily acquire civilization-ending power." You guys, this is such a brilliant twist. It means we don't have to sit around waiting for some impossible, utopian evolution of the human soul. We do not have to become these flawless, perfect beings. We are totally allowed to be flawed, competitive, and imperfect. But what we absolutely must do is build smarter, stronger safety rails so that our ordinary, everyday human imperfections don't just accidentally press a button that ends the whole shebang.
And that brings us to the ultimate, lingering question we are left with today. What systems will we build to survive our own power? Because if the instinct filter is real, successfully passing through it is going to be the absolute defining challenge of our era. It is entirely up to us to design the governance that actually matches our genius. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.